Good evening, everyone. This is Wilderness Woman, and I'm here with my crazy husband. And I'm going to have him tour you tonight of this room. To me, looks like a mess, but it's his pride and joy. Go ahead, hon.
Hello. Today, we're going to talk to you about everybody thinks, okay, going solar power, and running on a solar home. Technically, that is really not true unless you are grid tied with battery backup. But as you can see here, we have 24 8L16 batteries, good for 60 kilowatts. Okay, these are hooked up for 48 volts. They're 6-volt batteries each, so 12, 24, 36, 48, so it sets in threes. There's monitors on each group of batteries for temperature sensing, whatnot. So when the sun is out, it goes into these things. So we have the Outback MPPT 80s. The MPPT stands for multi-power point tracking. That gets the maximum energy out of your solar panels. What this does is it converts. We have each array is set for 150 volts. So, and we have 20 panels, so each one of these take care of 10 panels each. We got them on the east, west, and south side. Okay, so what these do is take the energy and the voltage from the solar panels. And why it's 150 volts, because if you run lower voltage, you're going to need big, huge welding cables like this. You know, you're going to have line loss. So the higher the voltage, the less line loss you're going to have. Okay, and what these things do is puts the energy, regulates it into the battery bank system. And whenever you have any of this, you want to make sure you have solar disconnects. Like this is for the two of these are 100 amps per charge controller. Run into these type fuses. Okay, so that's our disconnect. And each array that's up on the roof has its own disconnect. So if you need to work on this stuff, I mean, when we're hooking it up, oh my God, what happens if we get electrocuted and so. Well, either throw a sheet over it or do it during dark time or during the clouds or something. But anyways, them all go into the batteries from these guys. Then what we need is well, like we have in here, for instance. These are a little bit bigger system they use. Well, can't get it out of there. 300 amp is what we're doing. Is we're taking low voltage, super high current. So the 300 amp fuses in here with explosion-proof battery boxes. Because if you have a short, you're going to have one hell of an explosion. Okay. Them in turn will feed this. That's the Connect XW Pro XW 6848, which means it's 6,800 watts split phase, which means it's 240s will run your 240 volt appliances, well pumps, whatnot, as well as your 120 outlet. So this is also a charger unit. So if we don't have any sun, we have this thing, which is again Schneider Electric. It connects what they call AGS, automatic generator start system. So if it senses too low and we're not putting out snow on the panels or it's cloudy all the time, it'll automatically fire up a generator, which will then charge the batteries and keep the house running. This thing is part of the Outback power systems called a hub that control and talk to this, and it's networked through the system to monitor. Okay, yes, do we need more or less? Should I shut down this bank? Should I turn on more of this bank? Whatever. Okay, then everything in this house, every single outlet, every single light has its own circuit breaker. In this one, if you notice, here is a 100 amp that feeds another sub panel the half the size box that goes up to the second, third story of the house. Now, contrary to what you may hear. Oh, one last thing too. We have our inverter AC output, main circuit breaker, and an inverter AC input circuit breaker. This is when the generator starts. That turns this thing from the inverter into a charger. This one takes the AC output that feeds the panel and has a disconnect for that. This is a 400 amp, 480 volt switch made by Best Power Systems, what used to be in Wisconsin. So we can either run off a battery or generator manually if we need to start something up.
What's all that bottled water on the floor for?
Oh, yes, that's the only problem here is with lead acid batteries is it does take maintenance, so you have to fill these things. But once every 6 months, kind of look down or take a hydrometer and see, okay, does it need it? Because when you charge or discharge a battery, you're putting out hydrogen. Well, why are we smoking when there's hydrogen? Well, there's actually a reason for the roof and so on, so it goes into a blower system. So it's a detector. There's too much hydrogen. Hydrogen rises, like the Hindenburg. We all know what happened to that back in 1940s. So anyways, we don't want our house blowing up. That is why the water's for. You don't want to use regular tap water because you don't want minerals in it. You want to use distilled water. It has to be distilled. Because mineral water, if there's any iron or anything in there, what you're going to do is short the plates.
And no, it really doesn't take that much water. But with everything going on in the world and the limits on water, they've actually limited how much distilled water you could even buy. So we have prepped our distilled water.
Yes. And here was our original system. What was a Schneider? This is an SW. That's a Knex SW 4048, which means it's 4,000 watts split phase, 48 volt input. That is going to be a backup, which will live up in here. And all the rest of the switch gear sitting around. So in case this fails, this will automatically take over. So we're pretty much a backup to a backup to a backup. Oh, yeah, and what these are made by East Penn Battery. These are the DECA solar photovoltaic batteries, renewable energy charging perimeters. And you can see we got flooded here, so our current, their voltage normally 57.6 to 58.8, or 60 volts on equalized charge to 61.2. What the importance of equalizing is, people don't know when they have batteries. These cells supposed to be 6 volts a piece. One might drop down to like 4.9, and this one might be 5.2, and this one might be 6, 1. So what you do is you put an extra voltage, what they call an equalized charge, in it to bring them all up. Exactly what it's doing. It's equalizing each cell. So when the equalized charge goes away, every cell has the exact same voltage to it.
So why did you choose to use lead acid batteries and not the newer batteries that are available?
Oh, for one thing, I'm really not comfortable with lithium ion, for instance, for the simple reason they have a tendency to, they can overheat. Any kind of water gets next to them or into the things, they will literally explode. Oh, and here's part of the battery maintenance, like I was saying. This is group 1, 2, and 3 in each individual battery reading on voltage. So then you can know equalize to 750, 765, so and so on this, so we know what it is. So you got to do, a little bit. But no, they're safer, and these batteries, well, these are built in January 2017. But the batteries, as long as you this is the trick, a lot of people don't know about batteries, you do not, even though they're deep cycle, they're designed to deep cycle. You do not, I have these so they don't cycle below 50%. 50's pushing it. So I says, okay, well, I don't want them cycle below 60%, so 40%, but these batteries will last 25, 30 years.
Cool.
And that's why. And like I said, you can see the temperature sensors on these things. Come to these things that tells the charge controlling inverter charger. Okay, is the battery getting too hot? You don't want to get it too hot because it will sulfate. Or it'll start what they call boiling, which will put out more hydrogen. And as you notice, we see a black and a red on all these cables. These are, by the way, too hot, I think, welding cables. So this goes from positive to negative, negative to positive, positive to negative. And the same thing, I said they're set in threes. So 3 and 3, that's 48, 3 and 3, 48, 3 and 3, 48 banks. So in case one bank will fail, like you can see over here, for instance, we'll show them over here. Okay. If one bank should fail on these, this is what converts 24 to 48 volts. So this is 100 times 3 amps. So if something should go awry on any of these battery banks, what you can do, again, isolate through these fuses.
Can't see the fuse. Hold it up again. I missed it. Not that far. There we go.
Yeah, these ones I got on sale for 99 cents. Normally they're about 10 bucks a fuse. But you can never have enough. So this will take, like I said, each one of these is 24 volts. 6, 12, 24. 24 and 24. I say 3 batteries before. No, I meant 4. So 4 and 4 is 48 volts because they're 6 volt cells.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for the tour of your beautiful room.
Oh, yes. And if we want to know the battery actual temperature, we can look here. Here's the time. It says 79 degrees. For lead acid batteries, the ultimate temperature for these things, what they like, is 77. So around 2 degrees above what they like, prefer. But that's okay. They're, can be 20 below zero out, and it doesn't matter. But this powers, with this system, the whole house. All the lights, like I said, contrary to belief, oh, you have to unplug your hair dryer if you plug in the coffee pot or this or that. No, it's how you size your solar system, and your battery banks, how you size that.
Remember when the lady came for the open house for the
Mira?
For Mira, and she thought that in order to vacuum, she couldn't have anything else running, and we've got 3 stereo systems, the coffee pot, the washer, the dryer, everything going.
Everything running, air conditioning, the whole works, yeah.
So it's all in the sizing. How do you calculate that sizing?
Oh, very easy. Okay. You took your amps, what you're running for your amps, and you can kind of add this up. For instance, let's say a toaster.
You know what? I think because the phone's set, it's just getting warm. We're going to have to save that one for another video.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. Yeah. And we'll explain to you how to size your system, your house. But again, you don't need, we are totally off grid. Like I said, automatic generators start, and we got 4 different generators. In case one fails, another one will start up. If the diesel don't go, the propane will go. If the propane and the gas will go. And if it doesn't, then we got another manual we're going to.
And soon to be a methane digester up and functioning.
Oh, that'll be, in our next video, we'll show them that system.
Okay.
Right across the room.
Well, it's Mr. Soundsmaster and Wilderness Woman. We're out. Bye-bye.